When I was a kid, my dad would sing this British pub song that was popularized by the Herman's Hermits in the 60s. It goes, I'm Henry the Eighth, I am. Henry the Eighth, I am, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and every one was an Innery. She wouldn't have a Willie nor a Sam. I'm her 8th old man named Innery. Innery the Eighth, I am. Which means that I without a doubt learned of the plight of Henry the Eighth being the 8th Henry, long before I learned of the plight of Henry the Eighth's 6 wives. The 6 wives are a complicated enough story that there's a little ditty to remember the important bits. It goes, divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. On this day, January 25th, but in 1533, King Henry VIII married Anne Boleyn, the first beheaded in the mnemonic, not to spoil the plot for anyone, in a secret ceremony early in the morning. Anne Boleyn was already pregnant, and they had already had a first set of marriage vows in Dover, but this second marriage needed to happen for it to be legal. 2 years earlier, King Henry VIII had asked the Pope for an annulment on his first marriage, and the Pope had refused. At this January 25th wedding, the story goes that the chaplain, Dr. Roland Lee, asked King Henry VIII for the license. Without the proper license, everyone present for this wedding could be excommunicated. King Henry VIII assured the chaplain that the permission had been granted, but that the paperwork was tucked safely away elsewhere in the castle. Presumably, at the moment he performed the wedding, the chaplain believed the king, or he chose to believe the king. I don't know if choosing to believe the king made the marriage more real. These details confuse me about marriage. There's a taxidermied bear in a mall in Kentucky known as the cocaine bear that is said to be legally allowed to perform weddings in the state of Kentucky. The bear had overdosed on a great deal of smuggled cocaine in the 1980s. It's not actually that the bear itself has any official power, but that the law in Kentucky says the state cannot invalidate a marriage performed by people without official power if both people in the marriage believed at the time of the wedding that the person marrying them did have such power. It's the power in the belief of the people getting married, theoretically, that allows the bear to perform the wedding. I'm not sure if Dr. Lee acting as the chaplain is the overdosed taxidermied bear or the participant willfully pretending to believe in this analogy, but he went through with it, between the rock of a king and the hard place of excommunication. This wedding wasn't the entire reason we have Protestant Christianity today. The wedding came 16 years after Luther had posted the 95 Theses. There were cracks in the mortar and chunks falling off of the Catholic Church already. But this marriage was what put King Henry VIII on the road to declaring himself the head of the Church of England. This dissolution of the monastery, specifically as it was called, was a massive shift in the religious tone of England, and thus a massive shift in the religious tone of the unfolding colonization of this planet. 900 Catholic monasteries were taken over. Much of the land and resources being sold off. The role of these local monasteries in daily life, the 12,000 Catholic canons, friars, monks, and nuns who had previously served the people of England, shifted greatly the daily religious experience of the citizens of England. And as Great Britain went out into the world, including across the pond to colonize what became of the United States, the choice to move from Catholicism to a Protestant church was world-altering, for sure.